Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. We're in a new month. It's October. It's denoted by a number, by a 10. The numbers 1 and 0, 10. So let's crack on, as they say in England, because there is a lot to dive into here. All of these new energies. Literally today is the Libra new moon, solar eclipse, grand water trine. So let's just bring up the astrological chart for a moment so that you see. Welcome, Colleen. So here is the astrological chart that we're working with. The large blue triangle in the center is the grand water trine between Venus, Saturn, and Mars. And there's a red line. It denotes a square. That square is between Mars, the new moon, the sun, the new moon, black moon Lilith, and Mercury. And squares create tension or friction. Welcome, Alicia. But really what we're looking at just in this is new beginnings. And because of the 10s, the new moon, the sun, black moon Lilith, all at 10 degrees. Just above it, Mercury is at 11 degrees. All of this is in Libra. So things to do with relationships and harmony and balance and justice and so forth. And just above Mercury at 11 degrees is Venus in Scorpio, 11 degrees Scorpio. So this 11-11. So auspicious energies, powerful energies. And it's to remember that the eclipses are going to arc out for a good 6 months plus until the next set of eclipses. This is the final eclipse in Libra. So there's been it's 12, 18 months on this axis of Aries and Libra. There'll be one final eclipse coming up in early 25 that finishes out the Aries-Libra axis. AXIS. So main themes, what are we looking at? And there's a lot to dive in. So we're looking at the final chapter. We'll explain that a little bit more. The joy that lies beyond. Celestial wildcards. With this eclipse and the eclipses and the solar eclipse, it's about celestial wildcards, new beginnings, the grand water trine, and the Libra new moon solar eclipse. And what I love about the image behind these main themes, you see the peak, the top of a mountain. And we have been talking about the fact that we have all been focused for all of this time, for our lifetimes, climbing the mountain to get to the peak, to get to this pinnacle moment. And here, the moon is eclipsed There's a crescent moon. It's a new moon, but it's a crescent moon here in the image that's right over the tip, right at the top, guiding us at the top of the mountain. And of course, the joy is what's on the other side. It's the mystery, the awe, the excitement, the new beginnings of, because everything we've been focused on is on the climb, is getting to the top of the mountain. And now, of course, we have this great opportunity to see what lies beyond and the joy that lies beyond. Welcome, Olivia. So we're going to jump in first. This is from Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. She's an incredible astrologer. And we're going to talk about the eclipse. And she says, the Ring of Fire eclipse. And let me just bring up an image very quickly because it's powerful. Here's the image. It's this beautiful, where the moon overlays the earth, the moon, and the sun all line up in a way when eclipses happen. And the solar eclipse that's occurring today at 12:45 Mountain, so 11:45 a.m. Pacific. You guys all can do the math as you go forward, but this is what the Ring of Fire eclipse looks like, and this is from northern Uganda, this image. October's new moon, which occurs at 11:49 Pacific Daylight on Wednesday, October 2nd today, is also an annual solar eclipse. Energetically, a solar eclipse impacts us more profoundly than a regular new moon and can also influence our lives for 6 months or longer after the event, which is what we were just talking about. While not a total eclipse, this annular solar eclipse is visually quite dramatic. It is called a Ring of Fire eclipse because the moon does not fully block the solar disk, but instead leaves the outer fiery rim of the sun visible. This is also a south node eclipse. Wednesday's lunation is called a south node eclipse because the sun and moon will be in close proximity to the karmic south node. And just to bring this, show you the chart really quickly again, just down below, you'll see just below the symbol to the sun on the right is like the inverted horseshoe. That's the symbol for the south node. So they're conjunct, and the south node denotes what we're to release, what we're letting go of. So you're going to see how we're in this golden hour. We're in a state of transition, a state of play, a state of transition. And this transfiguration, it's our key word. We'll bring that up in a minute. Because it's conjunct, this eclipse is conjunct the south node. So this type of eclipse highlights qualities and behaviors that we must transmute if we are to progress on our evolutionary journey. It's imperative. So this is conjunct the south node, what we're to release, the north node, where we're going. It can bring up old patterns and tendencies that we must leave behind if we are to advance. So we may individually and collectively be dealing with old energies, old thought patterns, old stories, scripts, labels, identities, things that are holding us back. And the first thing that the unseen gave us was emptying your vessel, you make space for all things new, exclamation point. And what was very interesting when they said, so emptying your vessel, you make space for all things new. And then I heard you knew. So new, N-E-W, and then for all things you knew, K-N-E-W, meaning things that we're aware of, things that we know to be true. So we know that where we're going. And it's our mantra. Let me just bring it in right now. This beautiful image of an individual standing in a wooden canoe on water. My soul knows the way. So this is all about emptying your vessel. You make space for all things new, for all you knew. And it's my soul knows the way. And here's an image of a full moon, or it could be the waters, and the waters denote consciousness. And so it's from the unseen. It's all these things, and this solitary figure standing in the boat, not sitting, standing, which means we have perfect center and balance. We know the way. We know where we're going. We're being guided by celestial wildcards, celestial influences, by our soul source connection. And it literally denotes the Six of Swords in the tarot. And I'm just going to bring up, this is an image of, on the left is the Wheel of Fortune. And we've been talking about this, that the gears are shifting. Everything is turning in our lives, and literally micro, macro. So massive shifts. We're moving from Piscean to Aquarian, patriarchal to matriarchal. Perfect divine timing, divine order, divinely orchestrated. And you see she's got the heart in her center on the left image. She's holding the pocket watch. So it's heart-centered, it's known. The Six of Swords is in the center. And the little palm tree down below in the traditional tarot, the six, there's again an individual in the boat. Six swords are standing upward, and there's typically shown a woman with a small child. Her head is covered. And on the right side, there's choppy waters. On the left side, it's calm. And what the Six of Swords denotes is this movement to calm waters. So give you a quick little bit from Biddy Tarot. The upright meaning of the Six of Swords is about transition, change, rite of passage, releasing baggage. The Six of Swords shows a woman and a young child being rowed across a body of water towards a nearby land. Her head is covered, suggesting sadness or loss as she moves away from something in her past. It can be denoting melancholy, like it's okay for us to, because with any change, there's a releasing of something. We are letting go of what was to receive what is. Her child nestles in close to her body, looking for safety and comfort as they make this journey together. And this can literally be like moves, leaving relationships, relocating, changing jobs, all of these things, literally changing continents or locations and so forth. But it's literally about leaving one aspect or incarnation of ourselves to receive another. In the boat stands Six Swords, suggesting that the woman and child are still carrying memories or baggage from their past into their future. So this is about not, Six of Swords, like don't carry, everywhere you go, there you are. Don't carry the old stuff, the old baggage, crud with you. Empty your vessel. Make space for all things new. All things you knew. You already know it. You know what to do. Just do it with grace, with ease, with joy, with excitement. Because ultimately, as it says, while the water on the right of the boat is turbulent, the sea ahead is tranquil. So the way ahead is clear, open. This imagery suggests that we are leaving behind a tumultuous situation, bound for a more peaceful and supportive environment. We're leaving the past that has become chaotic, and it's become chaotic for a reason. Because we're moving, we're shifting into this beautiful, the world card. So that I'm just bringing up the image again. So the Wheel of Fortune is on the left, the Six of Swords in the center, that's moving us, delivering us, and into a whole new world, a whole new way of being. And it's the world card on the right. And you see that in her right hand, she's releasing the past, and she's with her left hand forward, reaching out to receive and embrace a whole new world, a whole new way of being. So moving back to Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, it's a South Node eclipse. And that it's about releasing the old patterns and the old tendencies and leaving them behind so that we advance. A South Node eclipse in Libra calls for us to redefine our relationships with others and with ourselves, to see if and where we are out of balance. It might show us where we may be prioritizing outer harmony over personal integrity, or where we might be avoiding taking a risk because it could disrupt the status quo. So again, this can be where it's reflecting this solar eclipse, the new moon, because the new moon brings, all new moons bring new opportunity. A solar eclipse with a new moon magnifies it, amplifies it. It's in Libra. So it's asking us to look, are we in harmony with ourselves? Where are we in disharmony, dis-ease? Where are we afraid to take a risk? Where are we afraid that we're going to, pardon the pun, upset the apple cart? And because again, from a show or two ago, there's a loud directive from the unseen that is speaking to put your own oxygen mask on first and then assist others. If you don't place it on yourself first, you can't assist others. And so this is where, and it's not selfish, it's selfless. You are making sure that you are centered, balanced, in good harmony with yourself first. Soul self, ego, mind, personality self, they're in harmony. They're working together so that ripples out. That's what the public receives. That's what your friends, your family, your partners, your coworkers, all of these, that's what they receive. And in a moment of world chaos and shake-ups and shakedowns and shady stuff coming out, I mean, it is chaos. And yet, calm waters lie ahead. It's the Six of Swords. It's delivering us all together. She goes on to say, it also reminds us of the importance of trusting our own instincts rather than relying on others' perspectives and opinions. The full moon linked to this week's solar eclipse is a very powerful one and will extend the transformational eclipse zone energies into the next 2 weeks at a minimum. The new lunar cycle that begins this Wednesday, today, will climax with a full moon in Aries 2 weeks from now on October 17th. At the time of that lunation, a cardinal grand cross will form. This configuration will strongly activate the power plays and battles of will represented by the Mars-Pluto opposition that perfects on November 3rd. It perfects this Pluto, and Pluto is going to be moving direct. So it is all about, we're moving forward. It will, just after the election in the United States, it will re-enter Aquarius. However, the point is, Pluto, the underworld, the lord of the underworld, going and shaking everything loose to move us forward. And Mars, our life force, this is represented with the sun, and it's the creative force to take action. And so all of this will perfect right before the election in the US. So there's a lot of, this is where the final chapter, the joy that lies beyond this moment. And we are all called to action, to look within ourselves. What kind of world do you wish to live in internally? Because it all begins with us. It's internal. It's an inside job. And then that ripples out. And so again, there's a little fable about, which wolf wins. Well, the answer is the one you feed. And so, of course, should you be in a place of, I'm seeking enlightenment, I'm seeking the joy that lies beyond, I'm seeking to empty my vessel and move forward because I know I'm to do it, then by all means, feed that wolf. To feed the other prevents you from getting there. It's an obstacle. It's a delay. It can derail you. So now let's move to and this is the image for our main theme, the final chapter, the joy that lies beyond. And I instantly saw, what I saw was a white rose. And yet what we've talked about the blue rose before. And so this is a white rose, the blue rose. In essence, the moral of the story is purity. The final chapter, the joy that lies beyond, it's about the purity that lies ahead. It's about the purity that lies within us, within you. And thereby, how do we tap into that joy, that potential to reach new land, the other side, to reach the peak and see what's on the other side and experience it. So now we're going to go to Channing Nicholas, another amazing astrologer. The eclipse on October 2nd is the final Libra eclipse to take place near the South Node for the next couple of decades. So this won't occur again in Libra, conjunct the South Node, for 20, 30 years. So this marks the closing of a chapter. The first Libra eclipse we had near the South Node was on October 14th, 2023, which aligned with the horrific events of October 7th. This is what occurred in Israel and so forth. Since this next eclipse occurs in a similar placement, it asks us to reflect on last October, the events that have unfolded between then and now, and all the ways we've engaged with the Libran themes of equity and connection, both personally and collectively. This eclipse is a call to rebalance our awareness of and commitment to what actually brings about any kind of real justice. So it's not about, it is about utilizing and harnessing wisdom, the divine feminine within us, to bring about real peace, because the numbers today become an 11. And 11 in the I Ching, hexagram 11, is peace, relax. All next month, November, it will be 11, peace. This is all about moving to a state of grace, of peace, of harmony, of balance, and how we get there. Channing goes on to say, solar eclipses occur when the moon passes between the sun and earth, temporarily snuffing out soul's glow. It can be unsettling to lose the light of our central star, and our lives can mirror this eerie phenomenon. So in essence, when things seem so dark, and look at, Hurricane Helene that just came through and the devastation, it can snuff out the light. It can snuff out our inner light, that sense of positivity and joy and so forth. Sometimes with private experiences that challenge our egos, sometimes with more public falls from grace for our world leaders. These disruptions to business as usual serve as a valuable purpose, teaching us humility. When we can't rely on our luminaries to guide us, we're forced to reconsider the insights that life has to offer us. So in other words, when we can't see outwardly, even it's the Two of Swords. She has two swords crisscrossed. She's sitting blindfolded and I believe facing the ocean, or her back's to the ocean, a crescent moon. So in essence, we have to go within to see, to hear, to be guided properly, correctly, higher octave, soul source connection, soul source GPS. It's not all of the chatter and the noise and the chaos and the illusion that is being forced, whether it's electronic from our smartphones and tablets and televisions and so forth and radio. It's about clearing out the noise. Outdated patterns and constraining situations can alert us to further opportunities for healing. Staying open-minded and receptive can help us draw strength from surprising sources. So see, when we are connected, when we're cutting out the noise, these beautiful opportunities of strength can surprise us because they come from unknown sources, meaning unseen. But solar eclipses don't just turn our lives upside down. They also bring about fresh relationships, experiences, and lessons. Pay special attention to any new people or realizations that enter the scene, since they're especially significant and noteworthy at this time. So again, new moons bring in new opportunities. New moons conjunct the South Node, as an eclipse, magnifies, amplifies. And so it is about what new people or places or things or wisdom, discoveries come into our lives at this moment. Pay special attention to them because they're here to bring about new times, new lessons, experiences. So, and they're significant. They might reflect your newfound clarity, or they might emphasize the core lessons you've been tasked with learning during this eclipse series. Since eclipses often leave a trail of chaos and upheaval in their wake, it's wise to hunker down and hold still during the turbulence. Lying low, resting up, and leaning into your support systems can help you metabolize any sudden changes or plot twists more easily. So this is about go with the flow. And it's number 2 from the unseen. Keep going. Do not stop. Miracles ahead. 3 exclamation points. So this is, in this moment, right now, just give yourselves the grace to go with the flow. Don't pressure yourselves to make immediate changes, but certainly empty your vessel, make space for all things new, things you know, because this is a final chapter. We're ending this final chapter, and it's about the joy that lies beyond. We're literally moving forward into the new joy. And with that, I'm going to go to number 3. It's one that we have had. It's come up in the shows, in the weekly Wisdom and Insight shows. It's come up with clients. And it's the phrase, the statement from John 20, peace be with you. And this was first brought about in John 20. It's after Master Jesus, after the resurrection. And Master Jesus issued it both as a greeting, but probably to assure the apostles as well. During his first encounter, he entered a room despite the doors being locked. That is the pinnacle. For me, the point of the message is, here are the apostles. After the crucifixion, the resurrection, they're in a room, the door is locked. They're fearing those that were coming, whether it be the Romans or the Jews and so forth that had come after Master Jesus and crucified him. And he enters the room despite the door being locked. It says to all of us, the unseen is ever present, is able to permeate any fortress, any locked door within us, certainly first and foremost, and then outwardly beyond that. And on the evening of that day, the first day of the week, the doors being locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood among them and said to them, peace be with you, to show them he was himself and to calm them down. The second time he said it, he began instituting the Great Commission, which was a precursor to Pentecost. When he said this, he showed them his hands and his side. Then the disciples were glad when they saw the Lord. Jesus said to them again, peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, even so I am sending you. And when he said this, he breathed upon them, and they received the Holy Spirit. And of course, in Pentecost is when the burning flame is baptism by fire, the Holy Spirit. The moral of this, it's number 3 from the unseen, peace be with you, is about the fact, it's to remember we are never alone. We are ever connected with Source, with God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is, however you identify, higher power, higher octave. And so no matter what we're going through, no matter what it looks like on the world stage, Source, God, the all that is with us. They are our light. They are our life force. They are those who came before us. And we've been journeying up the mountain to reach the peak, to receive what's on the other side of this massive moment. Because again, remember, Master Jesus, he was born at the time of this very same transition, major transition. It's 2,000 plus years per sign, where we went from Aries to Pisces. Well, now we're moving from Pisces to Aquarius. So massive, epic transition, change. And that brings me to our third piece, which is from, this is from Lena Stevens at thepowerpath.com, and they're out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, amazing shamanic healers and so forth. And this is from their October newsletter. The theme for October is transition. There are several definitions of transition. The best one Lena found: a change from one thing to the next, either in action or state of being. So this change from one thing to the next. Massive change. Following on the heels of the September Embracing Change theme, this month's focus is on the transition time required to fully execute. This month's focus is on the transition time required to fully extricate from the past and migrate freely into the future and what we collectively decide to manifest for ourselves. This is that Six of Swords moment, this transition. It will not be an easy month as we navigate the not knowing and cope with feeling out of sorts as the tried and true no longer works. Because we're in essence, again, the foundations, everything that we've known, relied upon, and so forth. It's not toast, but it's changing. It's completely changing. We're being asked to rise to a higher level, to rise to the occasion, to rise and to make this transition, this transformation into the new, and thereby to get in the boat. It's our mantra, my soul knows the way. And you're standing in the boat. You're not sitting, you're standing. If anyone's ever attempted that, stand on a boat, in a boat on water, it takes absolute centeredness. That's what we're talking about. To sit disperses our weight. To stand, you got to be one with the all that is. So we're navigating the not knowing and coping with feeling out of sorts. Add restlessness, anxiety, and concern about the future, and you could get sleepless nights, ambivalence about choice, and even some impatience and tendency to react negatively. So this is all about remembering to be proactive, not reactive. Operate from a state and a place of grace. The upside to this month is that we are truly in a state of transition and there is no going back. What is evolving has already been set into motion, and we, with our fear and attachments, are the ones standing in the way of landing in the right place, exactly where we are supposed to be. So remember, Six of Swords, do not bring the baggage with you. Empty your vessel. And that can be anything, your spaces. Empty your vessel. It can be ego, mind, personality, thoughts, stories, scripts, language. Empty your vessel. Keep purging, keep emptying your vessel to lighten the load, so that when you make these transitions, we're all making them collectively, and each one will appear individually unique in our individual lives. And there are multiple ones. Let me just bring this image up very quickly. Image of this solar eclipse, this ring of fire with this 10, 10, 10. 3, so the sun, the moon, Black Lilith are at 10 degrees. October, it's a 10. There's like quadruple 10s. So the way this transition, these new beginnings, may appear in your lives, in our individual lives and collective lives, could be multiple, on multiple fronts. Don't fear them. It's a 10. It should put a smile on your face about yes. And yes, you may have melancholy and sadness over releasing something or someone or someplace. Okay. Yes. However, do not let that deter you from embracing the new, from making space, from taking the necessary steps to see what's on the other side, because it's a 10. And this is leading, by the way, all of these outer planets, just bringing up the astrological chart for this new moon solar eclipse, grand water trine, all 5 of the outer planets moving in towards the end of this year, but certainly into next year in 2025, are moving into new signs. That is a big deal because the outer planets move very slowly, very slowly. They take years to change signs. The interpersonal planets, of course, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, they move very quickly. But the outer planets move more slowly. And the point is, they're shifting, all of them are shifting signs. Denotes huge change. So bear that in mind. Lena Stevens at the Power Path, she goes on to say, the theme of trust is big this month as well. Choices made from certain clarity need to be held in trust that they are the right ones. This is about listening, not second guessing yourselves. When you know, it's making space for all things you know. You knew. You know. That's the point. And then not second guessing. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust your soul source connection. Transition means that we are not there yet. We are still in the process of moving away and out from under the old structures and patterns, and the new ones are not yet fully formed. See, it's the Six of Swords. You're in the boat. We're in the boat, but we're being guided. There's someone rowing us to safety, guiding us to new land. And thereby, it's not yet fully formed. We're still in the boat, but we do arrive. We get there. It will be a while before we actually see the results as physically manifested. So relax and enjoy and process with patience and trust in right timing. This is, again, this beautiful, it's the Wheel of Fortune, divine order, divine time, divine everything. Six of Swords, it's moving us out of choppy chaos seas to the world, a new way of being, a new place, a new us. And thereby to not fear any of it, to walk with grace and in guidance, your soul source connection. If you stubbornly hold on to the past and your idea of how it should be, you are in resistance to the transition, and this will only cause suffering. You cannot hold back the flow of the river, so you may as well get on the boat and go for the ride. And this brings about, it's our first quote, all that you hold is borrowed. And you see the beauty of this in the image. It's a female, her arms extended, her hands, and she's holding a wrapped box, a gift box. All that you hold is borrowed. It's to remember that everything in our lives, the people, the places, the things, the positions, the baubles, everything's on loan to us. It's borrowed. We didn't come into this life with it. We don't leave this life with it. As I just recently saw this, I don't remember where it came from, but in essence it said, they said, it's not like God sent a U-Haul for your belongings, when you when you leave the physical realm. They don't go, they stay here. Well, it's the same thing. It's like to not hold things so tightly that you stagnate, that you keep this beautiful state of transition from occurring. It's number 4 from the unseen. It's fly like an eagle. We've had this before, the Steve Miller Band. But it's literally like you want to soar. You want to fly like an eagle. The eagle is the closest to source. So it's the highest octave. And so this, and it's number 4, it's foundational. This is where we're going. This is who we are. And it's simply a matter of marrying that, rising up to meet and greet that octave of ourselves in this moment, and thereby go for the ride. The new moon and annual solar eclipse on the 2nd set up the container for how the first part of the month either supports where we are or pushes us to consider what still needs to change. It is a good process around this new moon to make an energetic inventory of what feels good and right in your life and what does not. Then, without judgment and from a place of neutrality, acknowledge and embrace the steps for whatever transition is necessary for you. This is emptying the vessel, taking stock, seeing where you are, so that you're, again, flowing with the energy, with the flow. You're not resisting it. You're an active participant. This is very individual, as some of you will be dealing with relationships, some with your own addictions, some with belief systems or attitudes and old patterns, and some with actual physical change, such as moving locations or changing careers or redefining how and what you use your energy for. Whatever the focus, just remember that you are not there yet. You are in transition. In other words, it's going to be a little murky. This Neptune involved, and again, it can represent illusion. There's chaos, there's illusion going on. So that's okay. It serves a purpose. Everything's divine. The point is to not get sucked into the chaos and the illusion and allow that to prevent you from having clarity, to prevent you from being in transition. In transition means be active, be proactive. Look, purge, empty your vessel, soar like an eagle, think about this octave, know that's where you're going. You're in this state of transition. Take the necessary steps while allowing divine time, order, clarity to literally reveal to you what's what, where you're going, when to do it. Divine time. The future is a co-creation, and even though it has not fully manifested yet, bits and pieces will start showing up based on clarity of choice and willingness to accept and embrace those breadcrumbs that have been showing up, either to release something old or move towards something new. We need to lean into what wants to find us in this new paradigm and plant the seeds of who we wish to be in the future. See, it's not about who we've been. It's about who we are in the future. It's about rising up to greet your higher octave self, your future self, because we've already been there, done that. We already know who, quote unquote, air quotes, who we are. Well, now this is about releasing that, because again, that's Piscean, it's patriarchal, it's the past 2,000 plus years and so forth. And yet 8 billion plus souls on the planet came in to say, yes, and yes, we're going to finish this up. We're going to put a bow on it and then turn to this whole new world, this whole new era, this golden hour. And we're in transition to get there. And it's our key word, transfiguration. Just the transfiguration, many of these symbols, literally in the Sabian symbols, the first 15 symbols in it'll come back to me, yes, the astrological mandala, the Sabian symbols and everything with Dane Redyear. See what we got there. They're all about transfiguration, a great change of form or appearance, especially a change that beautifies, glorifies, or makes more spiritual. A Christian festival celebrating Jesus' transfiguration on the Mount of Transfiguration into radiant glory as witnessed by 3 of his disciples. It was Peter, James, and John. So this is literally when Master Jesus is transformed. He's transfigured, literally, into a light being. And so, and with that, let me just go to one of the Sabian symbols very quickly. It has to do with the vertex is at this symbol. In a collection of perfect specimens of many biological forms, a butterfly displays the beauty of its wings, its body impaled by a fine dart. We've had this before, and it is Libra 1. The point about this is that the perfect butterfly thus represents the outcome of the process of occult wisdom discipleship, symbolized by the sign Virgo. We've just completed the sign of Virgo. 10, new beginnings. The final chapter contained in the ending is the beginning. Contained in the beginning is the end. It's about this. And so from then on, from Virgo on, after that point, a new process begins, that of collectivization. At the very core of that new process, the perfect form of man must remain as a standard of value if this process is to be valid and meaningful, meaning our soul. We must go back to the center. We must be united in an 8 is an 8-year, it's uniting, unite. We must be united from the inside out. And thereby, in order for it to be meaningful, we've got to go back to our center, who we are. And this first statement in the 13th scene is an actional phase, because in it, the perfection of individual activity is revealed and immortalized. So the perfection of us as individuals, 8 billion souls, what the unseen is seeking, what is screaming for us to be, is this perfected individual. And it's revealed and it's immortalized. This is the symbol. This is the symbol transfiguration at the Mount of Transfiguration. Jesus, the Son of Man, was impaled by the ray of divine light, making of him a son of God. It was at this moment that he learned of the crucifixion awaiting him. Thus, the merely human individual is made sacred, becoming the pure embodiment of an archetype. It's screaming to us to recognize our origin, what's available to us. There's a higher octave. There's more. And that we need not be down in the muck and the guck and the gutter of it, in the shadow side of it, in the chaos of it. We can stand in the light. We can stand in the boat, being delivered. And yes, there was choppy waters on one side, but on the other side and in front of us, it's absolutely still and calm. And we're being delivered to new land, to a newness within us that we've not yet experienced. So as we go back to Lena Stevens at the Power Path, she concludes this moment. It starts these energies of transition. It starts with observing your behavior and reactions to situations and experiences in your life. If you can be neutral, accepting, and positive, you will remain in a higher vibration, a higher octave. If you succumb to judgment, negativity, feeling victimized, and cynicism, you will have a harder time reaching and staying in that higher frequency. If you buy into the chaos, if you buy into the illusion, if you perpetuate it, propagate it, traffic in it, that's the energy and the frequency you're in. It will be very hard. You'll be in choppy waters. It will be very hard to reach calm waters and a whole new you, a whole new world, a whole new way of being. She goes on to say, even when you feel out of sorts and confused around your identity, around your identity, value, and purpose, be in gratitude and always turn your attention to beauty. So again, we're in transition. We don't have an absolute clear picture. We know the ideal of where we're going. You will know this individually, collectively. And so while you're navigating, while you're in transition, hold to gratitude, to humility, to grace, and to beauty. What's the beauty in something? What's the beauty in within you? I mean, if we're not able to see the beauty in ourselves, and we're not celebrating ourselves, and again, this isn't selfish, as long as do it from a place of humility and grace. If you're doing it from a place of hubris and entitlement and arrogance, well, then, of course, choppy waters. However, if you're practicing seeing the beauty within, the beauty all around you, from a place of grace and humility, it's deliverance. Lastly, she goes on to say, change is here whether you like it or not. The best thing you can do is make sure your own transition is going in the right direction, the direction of the truth in your heart about what matters and who you wish to be in the future. If you have not yet managed to let go of what needs to be complete, make a plan to do so and be committed to it, even if the logistics will take some time. This will create the space for new ideas, inspiration, and support to begin to enter your field. And even more importantly, in this making a plan, because they have that beautiful life happens while you're planning, while you're making plans. Be consistently connected to your soul source connection. Keep listening to your internal guidance system. It knows when to move forward. It knows when to pause or hold still, all of which is active. It's proactive. Brigitte is saying, love the connections we place and judge on love, and we will become unconditional love. Exactly. And she's saying intention, not attention. Exactly. The purity of intention, the purity of our thoughts, the purity of where we're going. This is what matters so much. It's what allows you to fly like an eagle. It's high above the chaos and the din. It's an octave higher. It's the highest octave. Number 6 from the unseen. So you see 6 of swords, the 6. And they said, end of an era, end of a way, and the beginning of another. And then I heard, and the beginning of eternity. So in essence, the final chapter, the joy that lies ahead, and this end of an era, end of a way, and the beginning of another, the beginning of eternity. Where we're going, this sets the stage for, it tees up eternity. Remember, in Revelation and everything, it speaks to the fact of there's Revelation and the rapture and Revelation and Judgment Day and all this stuff. But what remains is eternity. So it's like we're stepping up. We're taking a step up. We're teeing up eternity. This, what lies before us, this golden hour, this golden age, this return. And of course, that's what preceded us. That's what came before us. There was a golden age. It was eternal spring, pre-fall. It's the same now. It's the same, meaning we're going back to where we began, but an octave higher. And so we're being called upon to not buy into the illusion of all of this pettiness and chaos and division and hate and darkness and evil and blah, 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 all this shadow shite. Who we are at our center is source, is God, is pure, is beautiful. And we are to remember that. We are to choose that. We are to celebrate that. We are to promulgate and magnify and amplify that. When we see the greatness, namaste, I bow to the divine in you. When we see the divine in others, when we see the divine in ourselves, we will see it in others. We will practice it with others. We will extend it to others. And what does it do? It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of peace, of goodness, of excellence, of a higher state of being. We're in the transition of it. We're right on the edge of it. We're right there. And this came up with one of our fellow soul family members. I was speaking about this with Debbie Wilson from Endless Essences. And when we were speaking about the main theme, the final chapter, the joy that lies beyond. And she said, I just keep hearing the song from Europe, The Final Countdown. And the Final Countdown is based on, it was based on a song called Space Oddity. And with that, what was interesting about it was about the fact that, of course, the final countdown, countdowns, 10, 9, 8, 10s. It begins with a 10, these multiple 10s. And so again, be very open, mindful, aware, that big changes are upon us, meaning they may come multiple changes, multiple big endings and beginnings, people, places, things, positions, relationships, all of these things. And again, individually, collectively, because this final countdown, the final chapter, the joy that lies beyond, this transition, the transfiguration, this golden era, an hour, is where we're moving to. It's where we're going. It's where we are, literally in this moment. And I just want to conclude with a couple of other, and maybe just bring up our other quote. When I keep a green bough in my heart, the singing bird will come. What this means, in essence, when I keep a green bough, green is the heart chakra. When you keep a green bough, something, look at this image of this green bough, this limb of the sunlight coming through with all the green. It denotes life. It's inviting. It's open to receive. It's awaiting. It means the singing bird will come, meaning opportunity. Opportunity, joy, love, whatever it may represent, it comes to us because of an open heart. It comes to us, and when the heart opens, the ego, the mind, follows. The eyes see. When it's closed, nothing can get in. We don't allow it, and yet nothing gets in. Ha ha ha, we'll go back. Remember that Master Jesus entered the room when the door was locked. So, Source, God, Allah, Buddha, all that is, can enter, will enter, is within, never leaves. But what's the distance of that light? How joyous are you being in your openness to receive, to advance, to move forward? Or are you cleaving and clinging to the past? Or holding on to things in our lives so tightly because they're borrowed. They're not ours, air quote, they're not ours. Just because someone's in our life doesn't mean they're ours. Or a position, or a home, or a job, or a career, or whatever it may be. Or, again, tchotchkes, baubles, belongings. They're all on loan to us. They're set dressing. And so the more we allow them to come in and out of our lives, to flow in and out of our lives in divine order, divine time, in divineness. And it's not easy. Of course, I get it. It's not easy. But to see through the illusion and to allow that grace, because then when it's right timing or whatever, it will flow, or something greater will come to us, because that's what's meant to be. And we don't want to be stuck. We already know who we've been. Well, who are we? Where are we going? There's more to us. So last but not least, the sun, the moon, and Lilith are at 10 degrees Libra, so it's 11 Libra is the Sabian symbol. A professor peering over his glasses at his students. Problems attending the transmission of knowledge in a special cultural setup. What this symbol is talking to and speaking to is it deals with intellectual level teaching, and it's a cumulative collective knowledge. However, the difference is it's about instruction. So it's not about education. It's not about learning. This is about wisdom. This is about in how that instruction from the higher, as above, so below. All these major planets are shifting, are changing. We're shifting signs. We're shifting eras. We're shifting from patriarchal to matriarchal. And with that comes instruction. It's not something that we are taught. It's not education. It's something that we are informed about. It's happening. We're not going back. The time, the wheel doesn't go in the opposite direction. It advances. And thus, This is higher octave from the unseen instruction. And that's what this solar eclipse new moon is embodied with. Instruction. Go this way. Empty your vessel. Keep going. Do not stop. Miracles ahead. Peace be with you. Fly like an eagle. The final countdown. It's the end of an era, the end of a way, and the beginning of eternity. And that we are in transition, and that it's a transfiguration golden hour moment. Two of the other symbols, Mercury, because Mercury's above and Venus is above that on the chart, leading the way with the double 11s. So Mercury, miners are surfacing from a deep coal mine. The need to carry on at ever deeper levels the quest for knowledge, which keeps burning the fires of the collective mind of a society. There's more. This is about digging deep. Miners, they're mining the depths of the earth to receive things that keep the fires burning, right? That it's a fuel. Well, it's the same. This is speaking to the fact that there's this quest for knowledge. See, the instruction is about knowledge, wisdom. It's not about teaching, education. This second stage symbol is related to the first in that both we see conditions of existence dealing with work for the sake of the collectivity. So the coal miners are working for the sake of the collectivity. The opposition between intellectual and manual work is evident. Less so is the fact that both classes of workers experience definite physical consequences as a result of their occupation. With the professor, that's the wisdom that's being instructed, the eyes of the professor, the lungs of the coal miner. The professor digs in the intellectual past of mankind to find what may warm up the mental processes of his or her students. The coal miner brings to the surface the ancient remains of what once was living substance. The key word for this is extraction. So while we're being instructed, we're also being dug into to extract this higher octave of ourselves, to extract our soul source connection, our center. Because to remain on the surface, to just play it easy, or to not be conscious of everything, of our actions, our thoughts, our words, what we're doing, it's shallow. And so there's an extraction going on that's going to benefit not only our individual selves, but our collective whole. And Venus, an official embassy ball, group consciousness as it flowers at the highest level in cultural interchanges between representatives of the elite of the ruling class. This is a higher consciousness group effort. It's an official act. There's an election coming up. And what it speaks to is ritualized display of power, prestige, and wealth. But it has to do with relationships, Libra, relationships, and how they've been made higher, how that ideal has been institutionalized, and meaning a new foundation. And it tells us that this too is an essential feature in the development of rhythmic give and take to achieve global peace. Number 11, peace. Next month, peace. Eternal spring, what came before us? Peace. It was all peaceful. It was all good. And everything, we all had enough, and everyone could be their best selves. They could shine their divine light, and that would speak to every other soul. And in that, we've fallen. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Well, here's the unseen. It's right on time to lift us up. It's not about staying down. It's about lifting ourselves up. It's about being in that boat. Just imagine yourself in this boat, being the one standing in this boat. My soul knows the way. It will always know the way To what degree are you listening? Are we listening? And last but not least, before we close it all out, big energies, big opening month and show, Chiron, the wounded healer, the Sabian symbol. And this, again, from Dane Redier's An Astrological Mandala. The gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. The keynote, abundance made possible by human togetherness and cooperation. See, it's abundance made possible by human togetherness, unity, and cooperation. It's cooperation. It's not division. It's cooperation, coming together, being the best that we each are, celebrating that. Everyone has a place at the table, and how it brings about at this stage, it brings about the goal of happiness dominating the consciousness of cultural man. The more validly so, the more modest their desires. Religious philosophies like American New Thought glorify this social feeling of abundance, glamorizing it into an avid, quote, cosmic optimism and a cult of success. So there's a whole thing that says that in this optimism, or this cosmic optimism, where abundance made possible by human togetherness and cooperation, anything's possible because we harness the best in each of us, the best in each individual, the best in each company, the best in each government, the best in each institution, the best in every ethnicity and peoples around the globe. Imagine a world where instead of bombing each other and trying to one-up each other, you brought to the table, here's what we're great at. Here's what we're great at. Oh, here's what we're great at. And how we, abundance made possible by human togetherness and cooperation, how that ideal brings about greatness, abundance beyond imagination. But instead, we've been locked in the fall. We've been locked in the fog and the shadow. And so we believe we have to compete against one another. We have to one-up each other. We have to somehow take from you so that I have. But that's an illusion. And it's the worst illusion. It's the worst kind of illusion. Finally, and last but not least, the ascendant and the lot of fortune. Higher octave where we're rising to. A man possessed of more gifts than he can hold. The keynote, obsession by potentiality. And this symbol is, this entire sequence of symbols shows us that man at this evolutionary station has to move carefully in this new realm, for their consciousness is not yet fully able to operate in it, except with closely defined limits. It is a symbol of warning, a warning against undertaking more than it is as yet safe and sound to attempt. What this is speaking to is, as we move into this, here it is, it's everything. It's a whole new world. It's this limitless abundance and so forth. It's for us to be mindful that just because you can doesn't mean you should. Continue to check in with your soul source connection, with your intuition, your knowing, so that Libran energy, we're in harmony, we're in balance, each individual and us as a collectivity, as a collective whole. So it's simply to be mindful as we move into this new era of Aquarian age, matriarchal era and rule energies, and this eternal spring, eternity, all of this greatness and abundance. That we don't get lost, because again, we can get lost in the illusion. It's they're giving me Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the girl, Daddy, I want it, and I want it now. And, you know, she ends up being the bad egg that falls down the chute. And there was many of them, or Violet who, you know, turns into a huge blueberry, or the Gunter, I think, and falls into the chocolate. It's because there was excessiveness. They didn't tame their nature to be in the moment and to do what was right in the moment. And so that's what this symbol speaks to. So a lot going on here. I love you all. This is such an incredible moment in time for all of us. And I so look forward to seeing where the energies and this Libra new moon, solar eclipse, grand water trine, and where this all and where the unseen delivers us, the Six of Swords and the world, and the one that I'm forgetting, the world, and yes, the Wheel of Fortune, and how we all move beyond today. Until next week, be well, be wonderful, empty your vessel, keep going, do not give up, do not stop, miracles ahead, and peace be with you.